Hello Wolfpack, Lonewulfrick here, and in today's video we're going to take a look at about 30 Silver Age comics, mostly Marvel, and these are the comics I'm going to be listing to my eBay store on Sunday, August the 2nd, and I'm giving you a preview of right now. It's like of what's going in there, so let's take a look. First comic we have is Amazing Spider-Man number 77, guest starring the Human Torch and Battling the Lizard. This is a nice looking higher grade comic. Stanley wrote it, John Buscema. It's like artwork. Published by Marvel Comics in October of 1969. Next comic up is Avengers number 46. Features the return of Ant-Man. This comic is a Marvel comic production from November of 1967. Next up we have Avengers number 65. This comic here is the last 12-cent cover price comic. It's from June of 1969. And it started in July of 69. The Marvel Comics went up to 15-cent cover price. Give you a look at the inside here. Next up we have Avengers number 82. Guest starring Daredevil, the Man Without Fear. Comic was published by Marvel Comics in November of 1970. We have Avengers King Size Special or Annual number 4. This book is from Marvel Comics. It was published on January of 1971. The next comic up is the Mighty Avengers Special or Annual number 5. This one has a reprint of Avengers number 11, which was the first appearance of Spider-Man and the Avengers together. The comic was published by Marvel Comics in January of 1972. Next comic is a DC comic. We have Batman number 211. This DC comic was published in May of 1969. Next up we have Daredevil number 20. Published by Marvel Comics in September of 1966. This was the first issue that had Gene Colan artwork in it, Daredevil number 20. It became a main staple. It's like for Daredevil art. It's like throughout the late Silver Age into the early Bronze Age era. Fantastic Four number 64. An appearance of the Sentry, who will come to find out is part of the Kree race. This is Fantastic Four number 65. The issue after this one featured the first appearance of Ronan the Accuser, as you may remember from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. This Fantastic Four was published by Marvel Comics in July of 1967. It's a nice looking comic, a nice higher grade, nice looking comic. Next up's Fantastic Four number 69. Published by Marvel Comics in December of 1967. Fantastic Four number 81. This Marvel comic was published in December of 1968. Fantastic Four number 91. Published by Marvel Comics in October of 1969. Daredevil number 34. Daredevil number 34, published by Marvel Comics in November of 1967. Got a couple of DC comics now. Got Detective Comics number 357, featuring Batman and Robin. Published by DC in November of 1966. And Detective Comics number 361. Published by DC Comics in March of 1967. Another DC Comics, Do You Dare Enter the House of Mystery? Number 191. Published by DC Comics in March of 1971. Here's a little run of like Incredible Hulk issues from the late Silver Age. This is Incredible Hulk number 110. Published by Marvel Comics in December of 1968. Stan Lee story and Herb Trimpe artwork. A few years back, it's like when the Amazing Con here in Las Vegas was held at the South Point, I got to meet Herb Trimpe and his wife. They were sitting in a booth. A very, very nice man. He was open to any questions that you wanted to ask him. And they were a nice couple, and he was a very nice man. And I'm glad I got to meet him. It's Incredible Hulk number 111, published by Marvel Comics in January of 1969. Incredible Hulk number 112. Published by Marvel in February of 1969. Incredible Hulk number 115. Published by Marvel Comics in May of 1969. Featured the return of the leader. Incredible Hulk number 116. Published by Marvel Comics in June of 1969. Hulk number 129 features the return of the Glob. It's published by Marvel Comics in July of 1970. Next up is Iron Man number 11. This Iron Man is a nice higher to high grade comic. It's at least an 8.0. I'm going to take a closer look at it tonight and assign a grade to it, but I know it's at least an 8.0, possibly an 8.5 to 9.0 after I get into it. We'll take a look along the spine and along the edges and everything. But this is a beautiful comic, still has some really nice cover gloss on it. Published by Marvel Comics in March of 1969. Where Iron Man's fighting the Mandarin. Next up, we have Journey into Mystery, number 108, featuring the mighty Thor in battle with Loki. And we get a surprise special appearance in this comic by none other than Doctor Strange. So structurally, it's a nice comic. It has some transfer stacking wear on it that a lot of these earlier Silver Age Marvels seem to get. You can see it, it's like up there. It has some wear down at the bottom of the comic, right by Doctor Strange. This comic was published by Marvel Comics in September of 1964. Strange Tales number 137. This comic would have been the third appearance of Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. This comic had the two main characters in it. Had half the book was dedicated to the story of Nick Fury. The other half was dedicated to a story of Doctor Strange. There he is down there on the bottom. This comic was published by Marvel Comics in October of 1965. Next up, we have Tales of Suspense, number 71, featuring Iron Man and Captain America. And the same way, the Tales of Suspense comics had half the book was a story about Iron Man, half the book was a story with Captain America in it. This comic was published by Marvel Comics in November of 1965. Next up, we have Tales to Astonish, number 84. And this was a split comic also, with half of the book had a story about with the Submariner in it, and the other half of the book had a story with the Incredible Hulk in it. This book was published by Marvel Comics in October of 1966. We've got Thor number 155. This is carrying forward the story from the Ragnarok. published by Marvel Comics in August of 1968. Had a great Jack Kirby artwork in it. Next up is Thor number 156. Published by Marvel Comics in September of 1968. And the last comic I have today is Thor number 157, published by Marvel Comics in October of 1968. And there you have it. I believe that's 30 total comics that I'm going to be covering and putting in my eBay store beginning on Sunday, August the 2nd. So take a look at those in my store. My eBay seller ID is RLI Enterprises. That's RLIENTERPRISES. And as always, it's like I price these comics to move pretty fast. So trust me when I tell you they're not in my store for very long. And it's a nice set of books. It really is. It's like there's a couple of higher grade books with that FF number 64 and the Iron Man number 11. And the rest of them, it's like are pretty decent mid-grade, around that era books, around those grades. And I'd like to thank you all for watching my channel and for watching the video. Please subscribe. It lets me know it's like that you're actually watching the videos and gives me an idea of the content that you like. Leave some comments down below if you have some comments. I'd appreciate it. And I'll try to answer all that I can. And I appreciate everything that you do for me. I appreciate my eBay family that takes care of me on Sundays. And I'll be back tomorrow and I'll show you a few more things. And I'll show you the results of Sunday's sales. And I appreciate it. Thank you very much. God bless. Take care of yourselves. And bye-bye.